Hello friends in YouTube, welcome back to this last boil of the 2022 maple syrup season. This is my fourth boil, and man, it is a whopper. I'm gonna give you a little story of this and tell you a little story of that, and it looks to me like my thumbnails are all the same. So I hope to earn your subscription through this video and possibly even a share and a like. If not, just sit back and hear a story and have a cup of coffee. I appreciate it. Yeah, what a whopper. What a whopper. Things really opened up in the last few days, and we're swamped with sap. In fact, I am probably going to end up just losing sap on the trees because I'm out of time. I'm out of time. I'm out of snow. I'm out of energy. So this boil is probably up near 180 gallons. I kind of lost count. We've done several collection cycles. I went to the area school on Sunday prepping and collected a truckload of snow. And so I took that truckload of snow and I packed it around my barrels like I usually will. I took little 1 gallon pails of sap and put those in the freezer just to kind of keep that sap cold, processing it through the RO as quickly as I could. And then once again, I did one of those late night boils, start early in the morning, and here we are. So this is my vacation day. What a great way to spend a vacation day. I'm supposed to get near 65 here in Michigan. I did some bottling earlier today, and I am just boiling down this last batch. About ready to pull my warming pan off. Temperatures are already about 214 degrees, and I'm guessing this is going to be a whopper of a batch. Like I said, probably north of 4 gallons, which really becomes a lot. It really does become a lot. More syrup in these batch pans, the more heat that it takes to keep that boil going. I like the 2.5 gallon range batches, but you will not hear me complain not once about a 4 gallon batch. So as I'm boiling, I'm thinking about tribute and tradition. And I don't come from a syrup making tradition like many of you guys don't come from a fishing tradition or a hunting tradition or even a syrup making tradition either. I love hearing stories about guys, families who have done it for generations, and it's just what they do. And here, I'm the start of this tradition, maybe. And so let me tell you a little backstory if you mind sitting around. If you got somewhere to go, thanks for stopping in. It's no big deal. So I was talking to a friend, and he's like, you know what I did this weekend? I drilled a hole in this maple tree and put I think a McDonald's straw into it. He said I collected a couple cups of it, and then I boiled it on my stovetop and made syrup. And I was mind blown. You can do that? Because I grew up with table syrup, corn syrup. That's what we knew. We put it on our pancakes, we put it on our toaster waffles. That's what we knew. I'm really glad my kids don't know that necessarily. I'm sure they've snuck some table syrup just to be able to talk to the locals, but that's not what they've had to grow up with. So anyhow, talking to this guy, it got me going. Me being frugal, the cheapskate, really didn't know what I was getting myself into. I started making some wooden spiles, kind of figuring out what they needed to be, found some old historical pictures, drilled some holes, spent some time with a bandsaw and a belt sander, got some milk jugs, some soda pop bottles, cut little slits in them, hung them on trees, and turkey fryer away, right? And that was great. Honestly, that's what got me hooked. So I'm gonna check on this. So I get to that spot where Once in a while, I got to turn the fan down. We're getting to that point where things are starting to froth up a little bit. We still got quite a while on this, but things are starting to froth up a little bit. So you really got to pay attention at this point. I'm going to let my warming pan kind of run out, and then I will have to dump the warming pan out, and then it'll just be on the pan. So anyhow, got me hooked. So when we were looking for land, I definitely wanted to have maple trees. And honestly, I didn't know the difference between soft maples and hard maples. And we've been blessed with a good mix of both here. I think my first year I tapped probably half of them were soft maple, and I just spent hours and hours and hours boiling. At any rate, I knew I wanted to build a evaporator. I wasn't big on the internet back then, but I knew that I could buy a barrel stove kit. I knew the design that I wanted to, so I've got a regular step inside that barrel stove. So you got a firebox and it steps up and goes back. And so I spent a lot of time thinking through the process. My warming pan, the first time I had little steam pans. They're about half that size. And I just had a little faucet valve, and that dribbled in, and then got a little more, added the RO, and you guys know how it goes. Away it goes. So tradition, tribute. Heard from a lot of guys that they were seriously considering not boiling this year, or a lot of people didn't. I would say that the world we're in right now, I would say that a lot of us, our stresses are higher. The demand on our jobs are higher. And I would probably say, it's a little tough for me to say, but I would probably say that if the last couple years didn't affect you at all and you're fine, then maybe you need to check yourself, and maybe you need to care for somebody else for once. But I would say that most people that I surround myself with, this has been a tough couple years, and we've had losses, we've had changes, and yeah, it's been tough. So the thought of taking any time off, yeah, but I think that there's some things that shouldn't stop, some traditions that shouldn't stop. That fishing trip shouldn't stop. Opening day for a firearm season for some folks shouldn't stop. That camping trip shouldn't stop. And so, I lost a really good friend that we did a lot of communicating during syrup season. And I had that thought, like, man, I'm going to miss Rich. I'm going to miss him a lot, and I think I always will. And I will still send him a text telling him how the season went. But that's a tradition that he started that I don't know that it'll be able to continue. As long as I have the ability to make syrup, I'm not going to ever take the year off. I might scale back, I might scale up. Some years I'll have help, some years I won't have help. But I really feel like we have something special here. We've added technology, we've added some modern conveniences, but it's a tradition that shouldn't die. So all you guys out there that I would consider friends, and maybe I'll never meet you guys. Maybe I'll never meet Steve down at Chenyatta Farms. Maybe I'll never meet Eric over at Gagne Farms. I never pronounced that right, Eric, but maybe I'll never meet these guys, but I do consider them friends. And I do appreciate the friendship that I had with Rich. And there's a lot of you guys out there that I do consider friends just because we share this tradition. And we're willing to help each other out. And we don't call each other dummy. We help each other out. So thanks for joining me once again. This is a little bittersweet, more sweet than bitter, but a little bittersweet to kind of finish up the season. But we are sitting at about 9.5 gallons or so on the first 3 boils. Like I said, this will probably end up being just a little bit ahead of 4 gallons. And so I feel like that's a good season. The old timer books used to say that if you finished a quart per tap, you did pretty good. So that would have been 12.5 gallons for us. So I feel like I did pretty good. And so thanks for joining me this season. Thanks for looking through my library of videos. And thank you. You guys have been a lot of fun to share with this season, and I really do appreciate your time. We'll see you this summer. Bye now.